Have you ever felt like you're in a quiet battle with your own body? You do everything you're told. You go for your walks, you try to eat right, and you've even banished the salt shaker from the dinner table. You feel like you're making all the right moves. But then you go for your checkup. You sit on that crinkly paper, your heart thumping a little faster as the cuff tightens around your arm. And when the doctor reads the numbers, your stomach sinks. They're still high, or maybe even higher than last time. It's a quiet kind of frustration, isn't it? A feeling of betrayal. You're trying so hard, yet your blood pressure just won't listen. That number isn't just a number, is it? It's a shadow that follows you. It's the worry in the back of your mind about the future. It's the fear of a stroke, a heart attack, or slowly losing the very independence you've cherished your entire life. It's the dread of not being able to chase after your grandkids, or take that trip you've been planning, or simply enjoy a peaceful retirement without the constant hum of anxiety. You start to wonder, what more can I possibly do? Well, what if I told you that the real culprit isn't the salt shaker you so dutifully put away? What if I told you that some of the most dangerous sources of sodium, these silent salt bombs, are not just hiding, but disguised as the very foods you've been told are convenient or even healthy? In today's deep dive, we are going on an expose. We're going to pull back the curtain on the food industry's best-kept secrets and uncover the 7 healthy foods that could be secretly wrecking your blood pressure. And by the end of this video, you won't feel fearful or deprived. You will feel empowered, armed with the knowledge to finally take back control, not by eating less, but by understanding more. That feeling of doing everything right and still not seeing the results you want is incredibly disheartening. But I want to be very clear about something. This is not your fault. You've been trying to solve a puzzle, but you've been given a box with half the pieces missing. The food industry has become masterful at using words like natural, low-fat, or heart-healthy to make us feel safe, while quietly loading those same products with staggering amounts of sodium. Today, we are finding those missing pieces together. We are going to arm you with the one thing that is more powerful than any prescription: knowledge. But before we start pulling back the curtain on the first hidden culprit, I need to know you're with me on this journey. If you are serious about taking back control of your health and aging with strength and vitality, take just 1 second to click that red subscribe button and ring the little notification bell. It's a small click, but it's a powerful commitment to yourself. And while you're down there, let me know in the comments. What is the number one health concern on your mind right now? Your voice, your experiences, they matter here. This is a community and we learn from each other. All right, let's pull back that curtain. The first hidden salt bomb we need to expose is one many of us turn to for comfort, for a light meal, or when we're feeling under the weather. It's the humble can of soup. I know what you might be thinking. Soup, but it's just broth and vegetables. It feels so light and wholesome. And that's the genius of the marketing. We associate it with warmth, care, and healing. When you have a cold, what's the first thing people suggest? A nice bowl of chicken noodle soup. But here's the cold, hard truth. A single can of commercially prepared soup can be one of the most concentrated sources of sodium in the entire supermarket. We're not talking about a little extra salt. We're talking about a tidal wave of it. So why? Why is there so much salt in there? It's not just for flavor. The primary reason is preservation. Sodium is an incredibly effective preservative that allows that can of soup to sit on a shelf for months or even years without spoiling. It's a cheap and easy way for manufacturers to guarantee a long shelf life. But the cost of that convenience is being paid by your arteries. Let's break down what's actually happening inside your body. I want you to imagine your blood vessels are like a delicate system of garden hoses. Now, think of sodium as a powerful little magnet for water. When you consume a high-sodium meal, like that can of soup, all of that sodium enters your bloodstream. And because it acts like a magnet, it pulls water from your surrounding tissues directly into your garden hoses, your blood vessels. What happens when you force more and more water into a garden hose? The pressure inside skyrockets. The walls of the hose are stretched and strained. That is precisely what is happening inside your body. This increased volume of blood puts immense pressure on the walls of your arteries, forcing your heart to work much, much harder to pump against that resistance. Over days, weeks, and years, this relentless pressure starts to damage the delicate inner lining of those arteries, making them stiffer, less flexible, and narrower. This is the very definition of high blood pressure, or hypertension. Let's put it into real numbers. The American Heart Association recommends an ideal daily sodium limit of just 1,500 milligrams. Many popular healthy branded soups contain 800 to 900, even over 1,000 milligrams of sodium in a single serving. And here's the trickiest part. Look closely at the label. A standard can often contain 2 servings. So if you eat the whole can, which most of us do, you have to double that number. Suddenly, your light lunch of soup has delivered up to 2,000 milligrams of sodium, obliterating your entire day's ideal limit in one sitting. You might as well have eaten a giant bag of potato chips. Imagine this. It's a chilly, rainy Tuesday. You're a bit tired, your joints are a little achy, and the thought of cooking a full meal feels overwhelming. That can of heart-healthy roasted vegetable medley in your pantry seems like the perfect responsible choice. It warms you from the inside out. You feel a sense of comfort, believing you've done something good for your body. There's no greasy feeling, no sense of indulgence, yet invisibly that meal has just put your heart and arteries under serious strain. It's this disconnect between how a food feels and what it's doing to us that is so dangerous. But this isn't about giving up the comfort of soup, it's about reclaiming it. First, become a label detective. Ignore the flashy promises on the front of the can and turn it over to the nutrition panel. Look for products specifically labeled low sodium, which means they have 140 milligrams or less per serving, or even better, no salt added. Second, and this is crucial, always check the serving size and do the math. If it says 2 servings, be honest with yourself about how much you'll eat. The very best option? Make your own. I promise it's easier than you think. Buy cartons of low-sodium broth, add some pre-cooked chicken or a can of rinsed beans, a bag of frozen vegetables, and some herbs like thyme or rosemary. You can make a big, delicious pot on a Sunday and freeze it in single-serving containers for the week. You get all the convenience and comfort with none of the hidden danger. So we've unmasked the truth behind that seemingly innocent can of soup, a food we often choose for convenience. But what about the food that forms the very foundation of so many of our meals? From our breakfast toast to our lunchtime sandwich. It turns out our daily bread might be delivering a lot more than just wholesome grains. That's right, the second salt bomb hiding in plain sight is bread. Now, this one is different from the soup. A single slice of bread isn't going to blow your sodium budget for the day. This threat is far more subtle, more insidious. It's a slow and steady accumulation, a death by 1,000 cuts for your blood pressure, happening meal after meal, day after day. So why is there salt in bread to begin with? It's not just to make it taste good. In the world of baking, sodium is a crucial functional ingredient. It plays the role of a strict manager for the yeast. Without salt, the yeast would go wild, fermenting too quickly, causing the dough to rise uncontrollably and then collapse, resulting in a dense, crumbly loaf. Salt slows that process down, allowing for a controlled, even rise. It also strengthens the gluten network in the dough, which is what gives bread that wonderful, chewy texture we love. Essentially, salt is what makes bread, well, bread. The problem isn't the science, it's the quantity and the frequency. Because we see bread as a staple, a neutral base for our other foods, we don't even think about its sodium content. But let's walk through a very typical, healthy day. Imagine you making a conscious effort to eat well. You start your morning with 2 slices of whole wheat toast alongside your egg. A good fiber-rich start. For lunch, you pack a sensible turkey sandwich on the same whole wheat bread. You're avoiding fast food, you're controlling your portions. You feel responsible, you feel in control. Then, perhaps you have a small dinner roll alongside your evening meal of baked chicken and steamed vegetables. Now, let's do the math that the food manufacturers hope you never will. A single slice of many popular, seemingly healthy bread brands can contain anywhere from 150 to over 230 milligrams of sodium. Let's take a conservative average of 180 milligrams per slice. Your 2 slices of toast in the morning? That's 360 milligrams. Your 2 slices for the sandwich at lunch? Another 360. That little dinner roll? Maybe another 180. Before you have even accounted for the salt in your eggs, the sodium in your turkey slices, the spread on your sandwich, or anything else, you have consumed over 900 milligrams of sodium just from the bread. That's more than half of your ideal daily limit, hidden in a food you probably never even suspected. You could be meticulously measuring out a low-sodium salad dressing, only to have the bread in your meal completely sabotage your efforts without you ever knowing. This is that feeling of betrayal we talked about. It's the reason why you can feel like you're doing everything right, yet the numbers on that blood pressure monitor refuse to budge. The solution here is not to declare war on bread. It's about becoming a savvy consumer in the bread aisle. The next time you go shopping, I want you to do something different. Don't just grab your usual loaf. Pick up 3 or 4 different brands of the same type of bread, whole wheat, multigrain, whatever you like, and turn them over. Compare the sodium content per slice. You will be shocked by the variation. You can often find a brand with half the sodium of its neighbor on the shelf. Look for loaves specifically labeled low sodium. Another simple strategy is to try an open-faced sandwich for lunch using 1 slice instead of 2. This instantly cuts the sodium from your bread in half. We've seen how the very structure of our meal, the soup and the bread, can be working against us. But what about the things we add to make our food more exciting, especially when we're trying to eat healthily? What about the dressing we pour over that big, beautiful salad we're so proud of? This brings us to our third hidden salt bomb, a true wolf in sheep's clothing: bottled salad dressings, especially the ones that scream healthy from the label, the light, fat-free, or low-calorie options. Here's one of the most counterintuitive truths in the grocery store. When manufacturers take something out, they almost always have to put something else in. And when they take out the fat from salad dressings, they strip away a huge amount of the flavor and the satisfying mouthfeel. Fat is what makes a dressing rich and creamy. So, to compensate for this loss of flavor and texture, what do? They pump it full of sugar and, you guessed it, an astonishing amount of sodium. Think about it from their perspective. They need that fat-free vinaigrette to still taste good, or you won't buy it again. Salt is the cheapest, most effective flavor enhancer on the planet. It makes the bland taste bold. It brightens the dull. It creates a product that, on the surface, seems like the perfect solution for someone watching their weight or their health. You're eating a salad, for goodness sake. You're doing the best possible thing for your body. You reach for the light Italian or the fat-free ranch because you feel virtuous, like you're making the smartest choice. But let's look at what's really going on. A standard serving size for salad dressing is 2 tablespoons. That's not a lot. If you're like most people, you probably pour a bit more generously than that. Now, look at the nutrition label of a typical light dressing. You will often find 250, 300, even close to 400 milligrams of sodium in that tiny 2 tablespoon serving. If you pour, say, 4 tablespoons over your large dinner salad, you've just added up to 800 milligrams of sodium to what you thought was the healthiest meal of your day. The tragic irony is that you've turned a beautiful bowl of nutrient-rich, blood pressure-lowering foods, leafy greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, bell peppers, into a delivery vehicle for a salt bomb. It's like building a beautiful, safe house and then accidentally installing faulty wiring that could burn the whole thing down. You feel the crunch of the lettuce, the sweetness of the tomatoes, and you think, this is good for me. But inside your body, that same sodium and water magnet effect is happening. Your bloodstream is being flooded, forcing your heart to work overtime, straining your arteries, all while you believe you are making the perfect health choice. This is a deep source of frustration for so many seniors I talk to. They say, I started eating a big salad every day, just like my doctor said, and my blood pressure still went up. What am I doing wrong? They feel defeated, like their own efforts are meaningless. But the problem wasn't the salad. It was the unseen passenger that came along for the ride. The empowerment here comes from taking back control of your flavor. Forget the bottled stuff. Creating your own delicious, healthy dressing is one of the simplest and most rewarding kitchen skills you can learn. And it takes less than 2 minutes. The classic formula is a 3-to-1 ratio of oil to acid. Start with a good quality extra virgin olive oil, which is full of healthy fats. Then add your acid. This could be lemon juice, red wine vinegar, balsamic vinegar, or apple cider vinegar. Put it in a small jar with a lid. Add a pinch of black pepper, maybe a tiny bit of Dijon mustard, which has some sodium, but you control it, or some dried herbs like oregano or basil. Put the lid on, shake it up, and you have a dressing that is infinitely healthier and, I guarantee, tastes 10 times better than anything from a bottle. You control the ingredients, you control the flavor, and most importantly, you control the sodium. So we've addressed the soups, the bread, and the dressings. We're starting to see how our everyday meals can be compromised. But what about the foods we specifically buy for their health halo, the ones we're told are smart protein choices? Our next culprit is often found in the dairy aisle, looking wholesome and innocent. That's right, number 4 on our list is cottage cheese. This one often comes as a real shock to people. For decades, cottage cheese has been championed as a diet-friendly health food. It's high in protein, which is crucial for maintaining muscle mass as we age, it's low in calories, and it's a great source of calcium. Doctors, nutritionists, and fitness experts have all recommended it as a perfect snack or light meal. And it should be. In its purest form, cottage cheese is simply curdled milk. But that's not what you're buying in the store. To turn those simple curds into the creamy, palatable product we know, manufacturers add a significant amount of salt. And the reason is threefold. First, just like with soup, it's a preservative. It extends shelf life and prevents the growth of unwanted bacteria. Second, it's crucial for the texture. Salt helps the curds release whey, which contributes to that characteristic consistency. And third, of course, is flavor. Without salt, cottage cheese would be incredibly bland, and frankly, most people wouldn't want to eat it. The problem, once again, is one of hidden quantity. Let's imagine a common scenario. It's mid-afternoon, you're feeling a little peckish, and you want to avoid reaching for cookies or chips. You open the fridge and see that tub of low-fat cottage cheese. You scoop out a half-cup serving, maybe top it with some fruit, and feel proud of your healthy choice, but some. You've satisfied your hunger and given your body a wonderful dose of protein. But let's look closer at that healthy choice. A mere half-cup serving of many popular brands of cottage cheese can contain between 350 and 500 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly a third of your ideal daily limit, packed into what seems like a small, harmless snack. If you have a full cup, which is a very reasonable portion for a light lunch, you could be consuming up to 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 2/3 of your entire day's allowance, from a food you chose specifically for its health benefits. This is what I mean by a salt bomb. It's not a food that tastes overtly salty like a pretzel or a pickle. The saltiness is balanced by the creaminess and the tang of the cheese, so your taste buds don't necessarily sound the alarm. You don't get that pucker sensation. It's a stealth delivery system for sodium, and it undermines all your best intentions. You feel satisfied and virtuous, but inside your body, that familiar process is unfolding. More water being pulled into the bloodstream, more pressure on your arteries, more strain on your heart. It's a silent, invisible process that happens right after you've patted yourself on the back for being so healthy. It's the ultimate dietary betrayal, and it can leave you feeling completely mystified and helpless when your blood pressure readings don't improve. You start to think, maybe I just can't win. Maybe this is just a part of getting older. But it's not. It's about having the right information. So, what's the solution? Do you have to give up this excellent source of protein? Absolutely not. You just need to become a label warrior in the dairy aisle. Just like with bread, the sodium content can vary dramatically from one brand to another. Line them up and compare. Look for brands that offer a no salt added version. These are becoming more common as consumers become more aware. They will taste different, much milder, but this gives you a blank canvas. You can add your own flavor with things that don't add sodium. A sprinkle of cinnamon, some fresh berries, chopped nuts, or even fresh herbs like chives or dill for a savory twist. You get to control the taste and, most importantly, you take back control from the food manufacturers. We've covered snacks and meal components, but now we need to talk about the things we eat as our main course, particularly the ones we turn to for a quick and easy dinner. Our next target is lurking in the freezer section, promising a full, balanced meal in just minutes. Number 5 is a category that has become a staple for so many of us, especially as we get older and might not always have the energy for a full-blown cooking session. The frozen, healthy dinner. You know the ones I'm talking about. They promise a complete meal, a lean protein, a vegetable, a starch, all perfectly portioned and under a certain number of calories. They seem like the ultimate solution for a responsible, convenient meal. The appeal is undeniable. Life is busy. Maybe you're tired after a day of appointments or playing with the grandkids. Maybe you live alone and the thought of cooking a whole meal for one person feels wasteful and exhausting. Reaching into the freezer for a lean cuisine, healthy choice, or smart ones feels like a smart, guilt-free shortcut. The box shows a beautiful picture of perfectly grilled chicken, bright green broccoli, and fluffy potatoes. The marketing is brilliant. It whispers to you, don't worry, we've done all the work. We've balanced the nutrients. You can relax. But this convenience comes at a steep, hidden cost to your cardiovascular system. To make food taste good after it's been cooked, flash frozen, stored for weeks or months, and then blasted in a microwave, manufacturers rely on their old friend, sodium. And they don't just use a little, they use an avalanche of it. Salt acts as a flavor enhancer, reviving the dulled taste of the frozen ingredients. It's also used in the sauces, gravies, and marinades to create a semblance of a freshly cooked meal. Let's be brutally honest about the numbers. It is not uncommon to find a single small frozen dinner, one that might leave you feeling hungry, containing 600, 700, or even 800 milligrams of sodium. And some of the larger, more satisfying options can easily surpass 1,200 or 1,500 milligrams. That's your entire ideal daily limit in one single, deceptively small box. I want you to really visualize what this means. Imagine you've had a good day. You had oatmeal for breakfast, a low-sodium salad for lunch. You feel like you're on track. You pop that frozen turkey and mashed potato meal into the microwave. It smells pretty good. You eat it maybe while watching the evening news. It's fine, it fills the gap. You feel good that you didn't order a pizza or eat a burger. But what you've just done in the space of 10 minutes is unleash a saline assault on your body. That massive influx of sodium floods your bloodstream, drawing water in, causing your blood volume to swell and forcing your heart to pump with the ferocity of a firefighter battling a blaze. The pressure inside your arteries spikes dramatically, and if you do this 2 or 3 times a week, which so many people do, you are subjecting your cardiovascular system to a relentless cycle of stress and strain. This is why you can feel so confused and frustrated. You see lean on the box and think you're protecting your heart, when in fact you may be doing the exact opposite. The focus on calories and fat has been a brilliant misdirection, drawing your attention away from the far more immediate danger of the sodium content. So, what is the empowering path forward? It's about recreating the convenience without the hidden danger. The key is planned leftovers. The next time you have the energy to cook, whether it's a Sunday afternoon or a Tuesday morning, make double. If you're baking a chicken breast, bake 4. If you're steaming vegetables, steam a whole bag. If you're making brown rice, make a big pot. Then, take a few minutes to assemble your own frozen dinners. Portion the chicken, rice, and vegetables into single-serving, freezer-safe containers. Now you have a freezer full of truly healthy, low-sodium meals that are just as convenient as the store-bought ones. You control every single ingredient. It takes a little bit of foresight, but the peace of mind it gives you is immeasurable. Now, we've talked a lot about the salt that's added to our food. But what about the salt that's inherent in foods we often think of as being fresh and straight from the farm? Our next category involves processed meats, and it goes far beyond the obvious culprits like bacon and sausage. Our 6th hidden salt bomb is hiding right there in your sandwich and on your appetizer platter: deli and prepackaged lunch meats. And this includes the ones that seem the leanest and healthiest, like sliced turkey breast or lean ham. When we see that beautiful rosy slice of roast beef or that perfectly uniform oval of turkey, we tend to think of it as just meat. A simple slice of protein. We imagine it came from a whole roasted turkey, just like the one we make at Thanksgiving. But the reality of most modern deli meat is very different. That turkey breast likely went through a significant amount of processing before it was sliced and packaged. So, why is this a problem? The process is called curing, and salt is its cornerstone. Curing was originally a method of preservation to keep meat from spoiling before refrigeration existed. But today it's done for flavor, texture, and critically and for water retention. Manufacturers inject the meat with a solution, a brine that is loaded with sodium, along with water, spices, and other preservatives. This brine does a few things. It obviously makes the meat taste savory, but it also causes the meat to absorb and hold on to water. Water adds weight, and since these products are sold by the pound, more water means more profit. This is the hidden secret. A significant portion of the weight of the deli meat you are buying is actually added salt water. And that sodium, of course, gets passed directly on to you. Let's think about that healthy sandwich we discussed earlier. You've been a good student, you found a low-sodium bread, you're using your homemade olive oil dressing instead of mayo, you pile it high with crisp lettuce and tomato. Then you add 4 or 5 slices of what you believe is healthy deli turkey. Those few thin slices can easily pack 500 nuts to 700 milligrams of sodium, or even more. Suddenly, your perfectly constructed low-sodium masterpiece is a sodium disaster. Your sandwich alone could deliver half of your ideal daily sodium limit. It's an incredibly frustrating cycle. You stand at the deli counter and you specifically ask for the low-fat turkey or the oven-roasted chicken breast because you believe you are making the heart-healthy choice. It looks lean, it feels light, there's no greasy residue, you're actively trying to avoid the high-fat salami or pastrami. Yet, from a blood pressure perspective, the salt content can be nearly as damaging. This feeling of being tricked is so common. I spoke with a gentleman named Robert who was a big fan of his daily ham and cheese sandwich. He'd switched to whole wheat bread and low-fat cheese and couldn't understand why his blood pressure was still stubbornly high. When we calculated the sodium in just his 4 slices of lean ham, it was nearly 1,100 milligrams. He was stunned. He said, "I thought the ham was the healthy part of the meal." He felt betrayed by the very food he trusted. The solution here requires a bit of a shift in thinking. First, when you're at the deli counter, always ask to see the nutritional information for the products. They are required to have it available. Compare the different options. You might find that the roast beef has significantly less sodium than the turkey. which is counterintuitive to many people. Look for products labeled low sodium, but even then, check the numbers. Low is a relative term. The best choice? Use leftovers from your own cooking. When you roast a chicken for dinner, make an extra one. Slice up the breast meat yourself, and you have perfectly healthy, sodium-free lunch meat for days. Rotisserie chickens from the supermarket can also be a better option, though be aware that they are often injected with a salt solution too, so the skin can be very high in sodium. Stick to the breast meat. We've explored our meals, our snacks, and our sandwich fillings. Now it's time to look at the ingredients we use to build our meals from scratch, the pantry staples we rely on every single day. Our final salt bomb is one that many people use to make their cooking faster and more flavorful. The seventh and final category of hidden salt bombs isn't a single food, but a whole class of them: canned goods and pre-made broths. I'm talking about canned beans, canned vegetables like corn and peas, canned tomatoes, and those cartons of chicken, beef, or vegetable broth that have become a cornerstone of modern home cooking. These items are the unsung heroes of a well-stocked pantry. They promise convenience and longevity. Having a can of black beans or a carton of chicken broth on hand means you're always just a few minutes away from being able to whip up a chili, a soup, or a sauce. They save us from having to soak beans overnight or spend hours simmering bones to make a stock. They feel like a smart, practical foundation for a home-cooked meal. And just like with canned soup, the primary reason for their high sodium content is preservation. Salt is the magic ingredient that allows that can of chickpeas to sit in your cupboard for 2 years and still be perfectly fine to eat. It stops microbial growth in its tracks. In broths and stocks, it's used not only for preservation, but also as the primary flavoring agent. Without it, that carton of chicken broth would taste like vaguely chicken-flavored water. Salt gives it the savory depth we expect from a good stock. The problem is that we don't perceive these items as the finished dish. We see them as raw ingredients. And because of that, we don't factor in the massive sodium load they bring to the table before we've even started cooking. Let's walk through a simple, healthy recipe. You decide to make a black bean and corn salsa as a topping for some baked chicken. You open a can of black beans and a can of sweet corn. A typical can of black beans can contain over 400 milligrams of sodium per half-cup serving, and there are about 3.5 servings in a standard can. If you use the whole can, you could be adding over 1,400 milligrams of sodium to your healthy salsa. The canned corn adds another few hundred. Or imagine you're making a simple vegetable soup. You start with a carton of regular chicken broth. 1 cup of that broth can easily have 800 to 900 milligrams of sodium. The recipe calls for 4 cups. Before you have added a single vegetable, a single herb, or a single grain of your own salt, your soup pot already contains over 3,200 milligrams of sodium. You could serve 4 people with that soup, and each person would be getting 800 milliliters of sodium just from the liquid base. You see the pattern? You are a conscientious cook. You are at home, chopping fresh vegetables, using lean protein, controlling the fats. You feel a sense of pride and control over what you're feeding yourself and your family. But the foundational building blocks you're using, the canned goods, the broths, have already front-loaded your meal with a shocking amount of sodium. You are fighting a battle that was lost before you even began. It's like trying to build a house with waterlogged wood. The entire structure is compromised from the very start. But this, like all the others, is a problem with a simple, empowering solution. It's a 2-step process. Step 1 is for things like beans, chickpeas, and vegetables. Rinse them. By simply opening the can, pouring the contents into a colander, and rinsing them thoroughly under cool water for a minute, you can wash away up to 40 of the sodium. It's a simple 60-second action that makes a massive difference. Step 2 is for broths and canned tomatoes. Always buy the version that says no salt added. Not low sodium, but no salt added. This gives you a completely clean slate. The broth will taste plain, but that's the point. It allows you to build the flavor yourself with a small, controlled amount of salt, and more importantly, with delicious sodium-free alternatives like garlic, onions, bay leaves, pepper, and herbs. You move from being a victim of hidden ingredients to being the master of your own kitchen. As we've journeyed through your pantry and your refrigerator together, I hope you're starting to see the invisible thread that connects all of these seemingly different foods. From the comforting can of soup to the humble loaf of bread, the light salad dressing, the healthy cottage cheese, the convenient frozen dinner, the lean deli meat, and the basic canned beans. The issue isn't the food itself, it's the industrial processing that has transformed these simple staples into stealthy delivery systems for sodium. This isn't about fighting 7 different battles, it's about winning one single war, the war against hidden ingredients. Now, I know that hearing all of this at once can feel overwhelming. It might even make you feel a little angry or discouraged, and you have every right to feel that way. You've been trying to navigate a complex food system with a map that was intentionally drawn to mislead you. But I want you to take a deep breath and reframe that feeling. This knowledge is not a burden. It is your liberation. It is a flashlight in a dark room. You are no longer fighting blindly. You don't need to live in fear of your food or feel deprived. This isn't about a radical diet of bland, joyless meals. It's about making small, powerful shifts. It's about taking an extra 30 seconds in the grocery aisle to become a label detective, comparing 2 brands of bread and choosing the one with less sodium. It's about taking 60 seconds at your kitchen sink to rinse a can of beans. It's about choosing the no salt added broth so that you are the one in charge of the flavor. This is where your power lies. Every small, informed choice you make is a vote for your own health. It's an act of taking back control from the food manufacturers and putting it squarely back in your hands. This isn't just about lowering a number on a blood pressure cuff. This is about reclaiming your energy. It's about protecting your independence. It's about having the peace of mind to plan for the future, to enjoy your family, and to live out these precious years with vitality and strength, not with fear and anxiety. You're more powerful than you've been led to believe. I truly hope this has been valuable for you. If this video opened your eyes in any way or made you think differently about the food in your kitchen, please take a moment to hit that like button. It's a huge help. It tells YouTube that this information is important, and it helps us reach more people just like you who need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you never miss our next deep dive. We are building a community here, a place dedicated to aging with strength, dignity, and a whole lot of wisdom. Your presence here matters. Thank you so much for investing this time in yourself today. Stay strong, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.